Hello and welcome to Shredded Cels, episode 12. I am your host, Alex Schmitz, and with me here today is Matt Lunn.
Howdy, howdy. It's been a long time, folks. I know you've missed my glorious voice. But guess what? You'll be able to hear me in the next episode. I'm just making a plug.
Chris Flake.
What's up?
Jeremy Zajac.
This is my eager face.
And Gretchen.
Hey.
Is it Gretchen Snyder?
Yes.
Okay, that's what
I
I
hope you
thought.
punched the mic.
Yes, for those of you who listen to the podcast.
That will definitely be spiking the mic.
For those of you who listened to the podcast last year, you know Matt Lunn. He's one of our older members. He hasn't been on recently just because he has a class conflicting at this time.
No, it's because he couldn't find Depends because he is an older member and all.
Thanks. But luckily, I will be heading up the show, in alteration with your shows.
Yes, what we're planning on doing is doing sort of a second crew thing where, since we're a bi-weekly podcast, on the week that this crew is off, Matt's crew will record a podcast. Next week, on Wednesday, they're going to record one on Kiki's Delivery Service. And so then we'll come back, the week after, do our thing, and then they'll go. And we'll have a podcast every week for you listeners who can't get enough of your Shredded Cels goodness.
Yay! For those of you who can't get enough, just don't listen to one of them.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Or better, listen to us.
Nice. Okay, so Matt, since you're sort of new back from the grave, what animation have you been watching since 2 weeks ago?
Well, 2 weeks ago, I've been kicking back with some One Piece, getting some of that Sabadi Archipelago arc.
Yep,
out of the way.
That's pronounced.
I've been watching some Bebop. Up until the movie time, we watched the Bebop movie, which we're kind of reviewing today. Only just kind of. But so watched all of Bebop up to that point. Not a whole lot. I mean, yeah, that's been life.
Oh, since you didn't talk about it when we did our first podcast, what did you watch over the summer?
Over the summer, it was more One Piece, Brotherhood. Started watching Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. That didn't work so well because now I'm back at college and watching Toonami is not the highest priority. But I like to turn it on and just say, I
believe standalone complex is on Hulu.
It is.
See, my whole thing with standalone complexes, I don't much care for it. I don't really much care for Ghost in the Shell.
I saw the first episode, and it was fine, but it didn't really grab me.
It was the third or fourth episode I watched because I got up to that point, and it's like, oh, whoa, you're taking this, the Laughing Man incident with this guy who basically be able to hack into these, androids or whatnot and cause them to just kill themselves or something. I think that's what it's about. And the point is the Laughing Man was never caught. And whenever he does something on TV, it's this weird graphic logo that looks like this weird smiley face that just comes up over the TV. And he speaks even though it's like someone else is speaking because he can take over people's minds and stuff. So it's kind of weird, but I'm all for it. I mean, I do not like the movie. The movie was...
I like the first movie is pretty good. The second one was iffy.
2.0, Innocence?
Yeah.
Okay.
They really pushed the philosophy stuff down your throat in that one.
So, I mean, I'll look into it. If it's all on Hulu, then yeah, I think I'll watch that. That might be a good idea. But other than that, that's been my animation consumption.
Cool. Chris?
Well, are we doing summer or...
This is just
that was just for me.
Just for 2 weeks. We did it for Matt just because he hasn't been on this year.
Okay. Been watching more of Brotherhood. I think I'm around episode 40 now. Not sure. I'm actually liking Brotherhood a lot more than I like the other one.
Yep.
So
interesting. Remind me again, where were you when we did the podcast? 3 weeks ago.
Episode 10.
Where it was doing the rush through, got to tell the story real quick, funny hijinks, 2 or 3 times an episode, shove it down your throat.
It wasn't that bad.
I have a problem with the beginning of Brotherhood. That's why I cannot give it that great enough rating that it deserves, because the ending is great. The once you get past the rush through everything real quickly, Brotherhood becomes this masterpiece.
Now, remind me, is episode 40, is that the one where they show Hohenheim's flashback? If I recall correctly, that's what it is.
I think so.
That's one of my favorite episodes.
Oh, yeah, with Dwarf in the Flask.
Yep. So trust me, you're getting Brotherhood only gets better as it goes along.
The train
Yeah.
keeps chugging
So you're
faster.
getting to the best part of it.
Yeah, I can tell.
Anything else?
Naruto.
Naruto.
Stayed up with that.
Yeah, I don't mean
Wow,
to judge. I mean,
Jeremy.
I watch One Piece, but quality
Yeah.
difference. What?
Hey,
What?
hey,
What?
hey.
Hey, I
Guys,
I have,
fellow listeners, for anyone who's actually listening out there, if they have a fist fight, don't worry. I am going to record it, and I will put it on the internet for everyone to enjoy.
I have read both the One Piece manga and the Naruto manga. You know, I'm caught up to date on both.
Where is the One Piece?
Where is the One Piece? I think it's on Raftel, but we'll find out, won't we? But I can't really vouch for both animes because I haven't really seen very much of either of them. I did watch, I think I mentioned this, I watched a Naruto movie over the summer, and I'd forgotten how terrible the voice acting is in the English.
Believe it.
Yes.
Oh my god.
But it wasn't,
Believe it.
it wasn't even just that. Like,
Finster.
it was
It's
one.
like a sick Naruto.
Wow, nice.
What's the difference?
It was one where, like, the beginning of the movie actually had me pretty interested, and then like halfway through, it's got this twist, and like a guy who you thought was an ally turns out to be the bad guy. And it's like, okay, this could be interesting, and then it just sort of goes nowhere, and
What a
it's
twist.
crap, yeah. So,
I
but
didn't watch any of the
but
movies.
I definitely like One Piece better than Naruto. But as far as the current big shonen shows, it goes for me One Piece, Naruto, Bleach.
Why is Bleach even on
Yeah,
that list?
shouldn't you just put Fairy Tale up there since Bleach is just this?
Bleach is too long.
Bleach
You
is
think Bleach is too long? One Piece is a lot longer.
I'm on
than
episode
Bleach.
there's a quality
405.
difference between the two.
No, there definitely is.
5.
If you watch 20 pieces of Bleach, watch 20
pieces
episodes,
Bleach.
20 episodes of
21
Bleach.
pieces of Bleach.
Shut up, Alex. I know where you sleep.
All right. Well, since
I've watched. All right, if you watch 20 episodes of Bleach and 21 episodes of One Piece, you're going to remember every single thing about those 21 episodes of One Piece, and you will be hard pressed to remember 5 minutes of the Bleach series.
Okay, the first
aside
63,
from major
the first
parts.
63 episodes of Bleach are great. The first once he saves Rukia, it's over. I don't care about the whole. Let's go into. Not even the filler, but just the whole mystery behind Aizen's the evil bad guy. Don't just.
Wow,
No one
spoilers.
cares.
No one cares. That's the point. The point is, you watch the first 63 episodes. You're great. That's it. That's all the show should be. The end.
There,
Wasn't the whole reveal about Aizen sometime back in the early 2000s?
well, yeah. It's in the earlier part of the series. There's no question it's got some major flaws. But like, for example, in the manga, there's been some recent episodes where, for those who know, the Captain Commander guy, the old beard leader.
Oh, you mean
know,
Captain Crunch?
Yes, Captain Crunch. He finally shows off like his Bankai and starts fighting somebody because this is supposed to be like the final arc of Bleach. And it was actually kind of cool to see this really overpowered guy, big.
They're
power-
all really overpowered.
Well, of course they are, but
It's like watching Dragon Ball Z with less monkey
if you
men.
thought Ichigo is bad, then he's worse because he's got like his sword has 4 different unique abilities to it and all this stuff. But it's fun to read.
It
you
can
know.
slice. It can
So
dice.
it's old man Gary Stew.
It can slice it, dice, chop wood, and.
Oh yeah, and it instantly kills everyone forever.
Indeed.
Hooray!
So Jeremy, what have you been watching since last time?
Nothing.
Actually, that's pretty accurate.
Nothing on Toonami late night.
No,
just
no,
with
no.
the TV
You
random
don't.
on?
You don't understand. You don't understand, man. You don't get it, Yang. You weren't there. you weren't there, man.
don't understand my pain.
Life is suffering.
Too many tests.
Too much life.
Two.
Too much
I know.
life for
Too
doing
much
Linear
life.
algebra and organic chemistry. You weren't there, man. You weren't there. Oh God! Wading through the rivers of hexane, holding up my model kit above my head to keep it dry, man. You weren't there.
Man, it sounds like you're like a survivor from Iwo Jima or something.
Nom, nom, nom. Why would you say Iwo Jima?
Why not? It's a battleground.
Yes, but that was clearly a reference to Vietnam survivors. Never mind. Moving on, Gretchen.
All right.
I don't think I've really watched anything recently, but I'm hoping to probably watch Bebop since I like the movie.
So you did like the movie.
Yes.
That'll be a key point in our
So
conversation.
hopefully I can start watching that soon.
I might hop on that one too. Just
Yes.
start
I have the
watching.
DVDs if you want to borrow them.
Well, at some,
Yes, that would
I don't
be
know
awesome.
when, but at some point, I definitely do want to do Bebop for the podcast,
which I
because
will be
wanna
coming back for.
because I want to talk about it. But as far as myself, now that I think about it, I really didn't watch much, really. I was going to watch Summer Wars, but I ended up having a homework assignment where I had to watch Casablanca and write a paper on it. So that
no,
sort of went
homework.
out the
You don't get on
window.
this plane now.
Hey, that is a great
Oh
monologue.
no, it is. It's a good movie.
It's a
very good
It's
movie.
more than a good movie, my
Okay,
friend.
I apologize. I spoke out of turn.
It's got the
Blondie.
best screenwriting of any movie you'll ever watch, ever.
I apologize. You are right though. It's a far more entertaining movie than Citizen Kane.
Yes,
What?
I would definitely agree with that.
What is that?
That is the other movie that
You've-
everyone
have you
argues
never
is the
seen-
greatest movie of all time.
He's not a film person.
You've
I've
never
never seen either of them.
Nope.
Well,
I haven't
Casablanca
either.
is definitely worth seeing. Citizen Kane has much better cinematography, but the story is a little more boring, a little bit more complex. You know, Casablanca is just a love story.
Hey, I love
Unlike most love stories, though, it's actually very entertaining.
I love
It's
some-
incredibly well
because
written.
it's got Humphrey Bogart in it.
Yeah, it's got freaking Humphrey
Hey,
Bogart.
I love some Bonnie and Clyde.
that man exudes manliness.
Bonnie and Clyde's good.
Pretty much.
So
All right. So, yes, for those of you who listened to the last podcast, you know, I think at the time we were talking about we wanted to do a good movie and a bad movie, and we decided that we wanted to do Angel Cop as the bad movie because our friend Jeremy here had recommended it to us for so long.
Good job, Jeremy.
That's a good evil
I
laugh.
was-
We need to have an evil laugh competition at some point because I've got a pretty good evil laugh myself.
Stop.
Suffer like I did.
I didn't watch.
Okay. Let's move on. Enough
Sorry.
cackling.
I wanted to get one in there. And on that podcast we talked about doing Summer Wars, you know, a movie I mentioned earlier.
But I blocked it.
yeah, well-
Vetoed.
Well,
Why?
not.
Is
well,
it that bad?
It's not the Blu-ray.
Ow.
He's obsessed with quality.
Thank you, Matt. I now need a new eardrum.
we decided that there were some movies that we want to watch more than Summer Wars, and so we decided to do the Cowboy Bebop movie, which both Matt and I happen to own.
Yes.
And so we watched that along with Angel Cop. And I figure we'll start with the good movie
Thank
before
God.
we get to the bad one.
Yes, please.
So, how many people here had seen Cowboy Bebop? I had. Matt?
Yep.
Chris?
Nope.
Jeremy? Yes. And Gretchen?
I had not, but I want to see it now.
Yeah, so yeah, from the two people who have not seen any Bebop, what were your reactions?
Yeah, like, what did you think of this film, and does it make you really want to go watch the TV series? I guess.
Yes. After I watched the movie, I wanted to go home and just watch all of it.
Nice. And
Well, when I first thought of Bebop, I was thinking of like the old style art, but then the movie actually looks really good.
yeah, well, that movie was made like early 2000s.
Yeah,
think.
I didn't know that though.
And Bebop is a little bit older, but trust me, it still is pretty fantastic animation.
Yeah,
The artwork in Bebop is astoundingly good.
I mean, it's old, but you know, for a '90s animation, it's still rock. It still kicks butt. It's just some of the ideas and elements that the story goes into, and the fact that the musical score for Bebop
It's
is one.
astoundingly good.
Yeah, I
Oh,
like
yes.
that a lot.
Well, it's Yoko Kanno, and whatever she touches is gold.
Oh, that's interesting you say that because we were just talking about Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, which she did the score to, didn't she?
Did she?
I think
don't
so.
think so.
Just because the music good doesn't redeem the rest of it.
I don't
The
think she did
music
Ghost-
good?
I'm gonna research this.
What I said was
on my
just
iPhone.
because
You
the
researched
music's
that,
good.
but I'm
is
pretty
what I
sure
said.
not.
No, he
I mean,
That's what I heard too.
That's why I want to watch Shinshiro Watanabe's. I'm pronouncing it right, I think. Kids on the Slope. We've talked about this in the past.
Yeah, I do want to do that one. Too.
I'm waiting for the dub though.
It's also on Hulu. Fun
Yeah,
fact.
it is, but I would rather hear the dub just to see how smooth and
Jazzy.
I mean, because some of that artwork they do as far as playing the instruments is very detailed to the point. Like, I don't want to be reading subtitles. I want to be watching the art.
I see. So yeah, I'd seen. I suppose with my history with the Cowboy Bebop movie, over the summer I watched Bebop.
Tsunami.
Yes, and I was watching it mostly from both on Toonami and then from library DVDs that I was renting. And I think then somewhere along there I noticed they got the movie at the library, and I was like, oh, I've heard this is really good. I went and watched it, and I'd seen clips of it before by the way, we'll be spoiling the movie and Angel Cop if anyone actually cares about that.
We're doing you a
Probably not.
favor.
But
Never watched.
But I'd seen the fight scene at the end of the movie on YouTube before, and I knew like that was gonna be like my favorite moment just because it's so awesome. But actually watching the whole movie in general, like it's one of my favorite anime movies, hands down.
Oh yeah, I should have put it on. Someone was asking me, "What are your favorite animated films?" I should have put that on my list. I mean, even though this film, I guess one of the great advantages of this film is you don't need any prior knowledge to the series. I mean, both Chris and Gretchen, you probably got that. I mean, you didn't know these
nice.
characters at all, but the film sort of welcomes you. It's like, hey, just sit down, enjoy this movie. I mean, and take her for a ride, see what you think.
I knew nothing about any of them.
But now you do.
I mean, Kenny watched one episode of it, so like I knew who they were, but nothing about them.
Yeah.
I think right away it kind of introduced them really well.
I mean, you've got Spike, who just his is in that convenience store. He holds the gun. He's like, he's like, I'm gonna. The thief is like, I'm gonna splatter Grandma. And sorry, I love that dub of just Bebop in general. The original TV series and even the movie just can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with Stephen J. Blum as Spike. And then I don't know who does Jet Black's voice, but whoever does Jet's voice is...
We've had this conversation on one of the earlier podcasts.
We did.
I know we did. Now it's bothering me.
Who did Jet Black's voice? So,
Really,
I mean,
they did such a good job with that show. Everything about it it's spectacularly well done. The music is amazing. The animation is exceptionally good. The story, well, it's more episodic, I should say. But what story there is incredibly good.
mm-hmm. I mean, one thing I would really, since this was a '90s show, I would really love to see what we would if we took several other '90s shows. Like the hits from the '90s. You ever heard of the Vision of Escaflowne?
Nope.
I have heard of that. I've seen the abridged series online.
Okay, yeah, you've seen the abridged series, but I mean, I would wholeheartedly recommend that series eventually down the pipeline for us to watch as well, just because music. It's not Yoko Kanno music, unfortunately, but that series is great. As far as watching it, though, the first episode is terrible. If you do the first episode, it tells you nothing about the story. It's actually why in Japan they aired the second episode, then the first episode, because they realized, oh, we're gonna turn off so many viewers by airing the first episode.
I mean, if we're gonna do like a comparison episode of animation in the '90s, we also got to throw some '90s American animation in there too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Dexter's Laboratory, for example, was that '90s or really early 2000s?
That was 90s, I think.
Yeah.
That's one of those weird things. Dexter's Lab aired for a very long time after it was
That's
canceled.
something we should consider. I mean, I want to get back onto Bebop, but that's something we should consider as doing a best of the '90s, not just
Yeah.
anime, but just '90s
Animation.
animation.
that'd be so
I forget
awesome.
who it was. It might have been Kurgan or some other person in Tech Heads that asked me, like, oh, if you do something like that, I definitely want to be on. So that would get a lot
Best
of
of the
interest.
90s.
Yeah.
Speaking of, just to clarify, everyone, Kurgan is a new member of Tech Heads
Yes.
because he's never been on the show, and Alex just kind of randomly dropped his name. So in case anyone's curious, that's who he is.
He'll be on my group too, so
Yes. For those who want to know, I did look it up. Yoko Kanno did do the soundtrack for Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex.
for the second season too.
I don't know.
Sorry, I did not mean to.
I mean, it just says soundtrack.
Okay, well then, yeah,
credits her.
Okay, well,
And
okay, there.
and the answer to the voice actor is Bew Billingston, something like that.
Okay, he doesn't do much work then recently, so
Yeah, but he was
It's
Jet
old.
Jet Black.
Love him as Jet Black.
What's Faye's name? Wendy Lee. That's
Wendy
her
Lee,
name.
yeah, she was a huge voice actor back in the day. Not so much anymore, just because most dubs don't come out of Bang Zoom Entertainment anymore. Most of it's all Texas dubs,
Right.
through Funimation.
Yeah. You referenced that scene from the beginning of the movie. I just think that's such a cool introduction.
Oh, I know,
to
I-
Spike as a
I loved
character.
that.
I go back. I have that bookmarked on my computer on YouTube, and occasionally, it's like, oh, I gotta go to class in 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so. Oh, what can I do? Waste 5 minutes of my time? I'll just watch that scene or just have it run in the background, just because I love that scene.
No, I agree. Like there are obviously the whole movie's great, but the standout scenes for me are that opening scene in the convenience store, the flying scene near the end of the movie, the fight scene, both the one what's his name, Spike has with not
Vincent.
Vincent at the end of the movie, and also in the train.
Yep,
I mean, all those sort of key points in the movie are really well done.
Mm-hmm. And also, I do have to admit, the comic relief for Ed.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yes.
Edward is so well written.
Yeah,
for
My
this film.
favorite.
I remember when we were watching it, both Chris and Gretchen were sort of like, at first they were just like, what's with this girl?
It was confusing. It was,
Has
who
no
is that?
bones. Her arms just wiggle.
Yeah, because for those who haven't seen the show, you don't really know like Ed's backstory and like why she's hanging out with the crew.
Well, I thought she was a guy when everybody said, "Oh, that's Ed."
Yeah, it's supposed to be confusing. That's the idea.
Well, they don't even in the episode they introduce her. They don't. I can't remember if it's like the episode after they introduce her that they reveal her gender, or if it's like right at the end.
Yeah,
of the
I don't
episode.
remember that, but she says Ed's a girl or something like that, and they're just like, huh? You know, they kind of look at bewildered just because Ed is just Ed.
Nice. So yeah, I love that. I love the we won't get into spoilers for the TV show here, but
The TV show is getting close on 15 years here, Alex. I'm pretty sure we're okay to spoil it now.
I went into the TV show knowing what the ending was, and I wish I hadn't because
I think
it's
a lot
so
of.
good.
Do you know anything about the ending of Bebop?
I don't.
Okay, well then let's
don't
keep
either. Yeah, don't
let's
say
keep
it.
that a secret.
Yes, Jeremy, we'll kill you where you
Don't do
stand.
it.
Half the cast dies.
I'll pull the plug.
That's not true.
That's not true. That's a lie.
Come on now.
That's about 50% true.
I'll pull the plug.
That's
Okay,
not even a
if you're-
spoiler, though.
But what I was going to say is, remind me again, where does it fall within the chronology of episodes?
It
technically?
falls between episodes 22 and 23.
Right, and so at this point in the show, you're starting to sort of get hints that the crew is splintering apart, and you really get that in like the scene with near the beginning with Jet and Spike in the what is it, Pie Show or not,
It's
something like that.
It's like Chinese checkers or something.
Yeah, it's Pie Show.
Pie show.
Pie Show. You know, they're playing that game, and then
Later on in the film, Jet's with Ein up
Yeah.
there, and he's like, everyone just leaves, and they come back when they want to come back. And what I'm noticing in the TV series is that happens even early on in the TV series. Well, Faye will just leave, and then she'll come back, and Spike obviously goes after he leaves for certain reasons for an episode or two,
Mm-hmm.
and then he eventually comes back. But but they come back, and that's the key. And one thing that this movie does is it really hints that things are getting shaky, and especially with that fight with Vincent, Spike can't keep winning all these battles. I mean, it shows that this, things aren't going to be so rosy down the road. The group with the Bebop, it's this. I'm trying to remember. Is the first episode open up with like Jet saying like he knew this group this group of people came on his ship and it was the best of times, it was the worst of times.
No, it just starts with he's making food for Spike and Spike's training.
Bell peppers and beef.
Yep.
Matt, I'd just like to say that there's a good chance you might have just spoiled the ending.
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't.
I kept it subverse.
Well, shoot, there was something I was going to say off of what you were saying, and now it's slipping.
I don't
from
think
my
he said it
mind.
in the first episode, but he hinted that later on. That this was some of his best memories. But
Now I remember what it was going to be, because you mentioned that like how Spike sort of gets beat up in this movie. That's one of the things, not only in this movie but within the TV show in general, I love about Spike is that he gets his butt kicked a number of times. And especially in this movie, like he gets shot, he gets punched. He's really pretty worn out. But yet he's so unlike Sagaki-san from Sword for Truth, which we did last year. He's not an invulnerable character, and part of seeing that is what makes him so badass when he goes and destroys people with his awesome Bruce Lee kung fu moves.
And yeah, the fact that because there's episodes where he's injured, like he's in severe bandages, and it's like ouch, like it's not that classical shonen. I can just basically I can beat everyone up until I reach the top. And
You should go from Bleach, and you can lose gallons of blood but still walk.
I'm less concerned about that with Ichigo. I'm more concerned about the fact that he usually takes that. You can actually hear bones breaking during the fight, and he's still getting along just honky-dory afterwards.
Right.
Also, the fact that whenever they show that whole chest wrapping thing, I just assume that their ribs were broken. So that means that Ichigo should should have some really deformed
Well,
injuries
to
right
be
now.
fair, when he's in his Soul Reaper sort of form, he's not actually human. He's sort of left his body.
Yes, but they've shown that the Soul Reapers still end
Has
up
blood and has bones and
really the only advantage is that they get magical powers and they can fly, kind of.
Right.
it's a body within a body.
Does it ever bother? I know this is really off topic. But did it ever bother anyone watching that show when you finally realized? So when you die, you can die again. Then what?
Yeah, it's a little wonky. Not gonna lie.
What happens after that?
Yeah, no kidding.
But no, back on the
die
subject
again.
of the Bebop movie, I mean, one thing I think that also draws a lot of audience to it is the fact that it's very Western. I mean, that's obviously a topic that's always brought up with Bebop, is that it's a very heavy Western, styled show in general. I mean, you see the Coca-Cola signs in the background. I mean, even in this show, you don't see. I mean, everyone's in Western clothing. You don't see any, specifically Asian.
Well, one thing that struck me about it, especially like in the sequence at the very beginning, where it's just showing random people walking to the street, and at the very end, it's showing random people. Like, it really seems like, at least in the city where they are, it's very much sort of a New York sort of place where, like, it's just a bunch of
Yeah, it really
cultures
was.
mixed together.
Yep.
It's not from a specific nationality.
Yeah, I totally agree with
Getting
that.
back to what you're saying though, Matt, a lot of fans have actually like speculated what the actual like national language is. I mean, well, okay, solar system wide languages. A lot of people actually think it's actually some sort of Chinese, some form of Chinese.
I can believe that.
Well, if you go by who on the planet Earth, who speaks, what language is spoken the most, it would be Chinese, just because there's more of them than any other
Well,
group.
he's talking in the show because you see a lot of signs and stuff written in. I don't know if it's Chinese.
I
but-
think it's actually Chinese. I don't know this. I'm not good with these. I can barely speak English. Okay, don't expect me to speak.
But that's,
a foreign
I guess
language.
that's one of my major points, because when you put someone to anime, sometimes there can be a bit of that culture shock of, oh, what's this? Like rice balls, for example. Those always get edited out of, like anything that was
jelly donuts.
Yeah, from Pokemon. Rice balls become jelly donuts.
What?
But
Yeah. I think I've seen where the rice
sorry.
ball becomes a hamburger too.
yeah,
What?
How?
Yep.
they edit it completely. But the point is,
It's usually pretty ham-fisted too.
Ah.
but I mean, when you look at Bebop, it
Weak.
doesn't have a lot of, necessarily Asian things. And I think that gives its more popularity here in the Western audience, because it's, I mean, I'm not going to, I mean, if you start putting more Japanese, like, clothing and stuff, or, that's, it's harder to relate to that. But when you look at these characters and look at this world, and it's just like, oh, they look like me. It's that sense of recognition, and I can say, yeah, I get this. This is cool.
Well, one thing I've always said that I really like about Bebop is just how it's more. It feels more. It's obviously set in a sci-fi, near future sort of world.
That's not near future.
Okay.
It's at least 100.
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
the difference
That's
between
true.
near
It's a
future and far future is near future is like 20 minutes into the future, very small small but significant changes
Well,
to how
I
technology
think
currently is.
within the years itself, though. I mean, I think it's only like 21 something. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's 21 something. And I have a question, though. The only planets they can really go to are basically Earth.
Mars,
Mars.
Saturn. I think as far as they've ever gone in the series is actually
Well, they've
Saturn.
gone to some of the moons.
Some of the moons.
Of Saturn, yeah.
So basically, it's between Saturn and Venus is basically the...
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
There's only 2 planets that you can
which I
actually-
kind of like, because a lot of series, when you start going into that sci-fi space element, it's like going to planets, super far away. But here in Bebop, it's just traveling within
Once
the
you-
solar system.
Once you start hitting intergalactic distances, I kind of start to shake my head.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, you start to really understand that sci-fi writers have no sense of scale.
But that's the point. With Bebop, it has this scale of, it's just in the solar
Well,
system.
it's interesting you say that, but yet you like Mass Effect quite a bit.
Mass Effect, the series itself doesn't have a very
game.
good sense of scale. But the thing is, it's all intragalactic. Intergalactic means within multiple galaxies.
Oh yeah,
There's kind of a humongous difference.
no, that's true.
Do we want to go on to the musical aspect of the film, I guess? Music is a primary component for Bebop as well.
It
I love
definitely
the
is.
music.
The music is spectacular. Again, I said that before, but I love music and things. Music can make or break a show, in my opinion. It can make or break any sort of media that it's in, and it makes Bebop.
Oh yeah, definitely.
more than anything else in Bebop.
One thing I really liked, one of the songs I mentioned that, I love this song, is that it's that Arabian song they start singing.
Oh yeah, when he's walking down the sort of looking alleyways.
Yeah, when he's going back to talk to the the guy who created all the nanomachines, which was that
the Arabian guy.
The Arabian guy. And I guess one of the things is that love and detail that Bebop does is putting into these musical scores. It doesn't just say, oh, it's going to be all jazzy, it's going to be all this. I mean, it takes a mix, and that's what the show does too, but even the movie itself, it just has this style where it just does everything, and I love that.
Well, this movie, as well as the TV show, like I've never seen a piece of fiction, entertainment, whatever, that just oozes coolness as much as Bebop does, and that's part because of the characters, part because of the story, the animation, but a lot of it has to do with the music.
I mean,
the jazz is awesome.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess the point is with Bebop, it's that perfect. Like if someone says, "Oh, you're into anime," and you want to give them an example of this is what I watch, this is what's cool, I would say the Bebop movie is something you could throw that way.
That's just it. Bebop is, if any one of my friends is even remotely interested in anime, Bebop is the first thing I always come up with, because it doesn't have the high level of silliness of some anime. It's not as stupid as some anime.
Yep.
And it's not as ridiculous as some of the anime I watch, like Gurren Lagann. I didn't give examples for the other two because I don't feel like going into those right now without inciting a riot. But anyway, Bebop I think the reason that Bebop appeals to so many different people is it feels less like a I guess it feels less like it's an Easter thing and more just like it's a universal thing, like you've been saying. It doesn't feel like you have to be well versed in a different culture to understand it.
Because one of the setbacks to a lot of I guess I'll even bring this back up with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's a little bit of a turnoff when you start bringing the Shing, the whole Shing story into it. I mean, it's not terribly.
Cool.
Oh, I like it. I like the idea. There's this other nation. It's this thing. But I mean, from the original series that was completely this Western. I mean, I don't know.
Well, but I think that's part of what I like about Brotherhood is because it sort of actually talks about the world a bit more, and that there's this nation called Xing, and that there's all these other countries that sort of get the fact that this isn't just about
a Western
one nation, that's sort of Western-y.
That's true. That's true. I'll give you that. But I mean, one thing I really like about Bebop is it's just encompassing of all cultures. Because one problem that I have with a lot of Japanese anime, even One Piece, is you can tell it has a lot of this. Eastern Asian culture mixed into it. There's, One Piece is a perfect example because it's they're going to eat takoyaki or, rice or, it's always these Japanese-focused foods. I mean, obviously because that's where the country of origin is. But with Bebop, it's, he's bell peppers and beef. Or when they're in the restaurant, he wants to get a lobster,
A lobster?
Laughs.
I feel like a lot of times when I tell people that I watch anime, they're like, oh, you watch those Japanese cartoons? But I think they would really like Bebop.
Yeah, Bebop is that. I mean, when I tell people I watch anime, I'm a big anime fan, but I'm more into the. I hate to say it, but I defend myself and say, yeah, I watch the stuff Bebop, Outlaw Star, Ghost in the I have to pull up the the stuff that people go, oh yeah, okay, that's acceptable. I like that. Because if you start mentioning, I don't know, pick
Haruhi Suzumiya.
Gurren Lagann.
Haruhi Suzumiya. Yeah, that's a
I actually watched that show, and there were parts of it that were too cutesy and moe-y, but other parts of it I really liked.
I honestly didn't understand it from the one episode that I got to see. I was so confused.
It depends on which episode was it. Was it the one where they're making the movie?
I don't know.
I see, because it depends. Because from what I understand, there's a bunch of different orders. There's the chronological order of the series. There's the order it was broadcasted in. So there's a couple episode ones.
But I mean, it's just
that's confusing.
But in general, as far as just culture-wise, if it's aimed at the culture you're more familiar with, you're going to be more accepting of it. I mean, Summer Wars sort of breaks that idea. We'll talk to that when we get to that show movie. But they eventually go to this house where it's very traditional style based,
right.
Japanese culture, and it's just I don't know. That's the thing I think that allows Bebop to be so universal, at least to the Western audiences. Is hey, look. I mean, look. This is our stuff. It's it almost makes me wonder why can't we make something as cool as Bebop? I mean, that's.
The thing is, though, we have made stuff as cool as Bebop. The thing is, though, it wasn't targeted at adults.
Yeah.
There's animation that is, I would argue, there is American animation that's just as good as Bebop. Please stop adjusting my levels.
Sorry.
What would you say? Do you have an example on the top of your head?
Samurai Jack, for example.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Dexter's Laboratory. I'd argue Dexter's Laboratory
Lab.
is astoundingly clever.
Yeah, or something like Avatar or Korra.
That works.
Yeah,
too.
definitely Avatar.
Yeah, you could throw those in.
And what's interesting about that is, as you were sort of talking about, these things with Japanese culture and things, I immediately thought of Avatar because it's obviously very inspired by that with the music and the world and the designs of the characters and like what they eat and things like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. One thing I thought that was interesting was just how the movie starts, because at the very, very first thing you see in the movie is Vincent, like playing with his little Chinese checkers things with the blue nanomachine balls, and Spike saying something about
all he can do is dream.
Yeah, he was all alone. Had no one to share the dream with. And when you first see it, you're just like, I have no idea what's going on. But you reach the end of the movie, and that scene makes a lot of sense.
Well, at the very end of the movie, after the credits roll, what does he say?
He doesn't say anything.
But it goes back to that table with the Chinese checkers game.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Pie show.
No.
No, this was the Chinese checkers.
This is
Oh,
different.
the actual one.
Yeah,
Okay.
when Vincent, has the little blue balls, and he's actually doing the
Remember when he,
Chinese checkers.
when he shot the table with it?
Yeah.
Shoots the table.
So
Okay. And actually you brought up something, the end of after the credits sequence. That's one thing I find very interesting about the movie is at the very end, Spike's just sitting there in that couch like he was at the beginning of the movie, and he looks up and he sees, one of the golden butterflies, and he reaches up and grabs it. As the music ends, he opens his hand and it's not
gone.
there. But it leaves the implication that does he still have this, sickness inside of him? Maybe it's like it was subdued by the rain, with the cure mixed into it. But does he still have it? Like, is that something that's happening to him in the last few episodes of Bebop?
yeah, but it also the point is it brings up the question. It makes him start questioning. The events that occur in the rest of the show. Because one thing, when he was in the prison cell, he mentions
His past.
He mentioned his past and how he's going out. He's looking for this girl named Julia, who he hasn't seen in a very long time. And I mean, they don't go into too much depth with it, but I'm glad they do make that reference point because it does help tie it back and secure the movie within the series timeline.
Yeah,
without completely separating it from like a Naruto or a Bleach film. It's just like crazy action's gonna happen and Ichigo and Naruto, go fight the enemy who never appears again or
Sounds
never
like
existed.
Ego Raptor.
Yeah, you do.
So it's just,
Pikachu, here's your bolt!
Yeah, it's exactly.
where's your bolts?
Pikachu!
Oh, yes. We
So,
love
I mean,
Poke Awesome.
That's what I really love this film is you can show it to anybody and they'll say, yeah, that's a cool film.
Well, and you mentioned that. I do love that scene in the prison where we get more of Spike's past because we really never get much of that in the show itself. And all of the stuff about, him sort of caring about life after he met Julia. He began to fear death and all that. And then how Vincent talks about, how like the life is just a dream, like are these butterflies I'm seeing, the dream in this world, the horrible reality of life, or the butterflies real and what happened?
Did I die on Titan?
Did I die on Titan? And Titan was just a horrible nightmare, like that whole stuff I really find fascinating about the whole sort of philosophy behind this movie.
And it's like at the very end of the theme, are you living in the real world?
Yeah. Very cool.
Well, since existence is suffering and I'm suffering,
But see,
I'm gonna say yes.
But this is the stuff I love. I love that psychological stuff, and
Yeah.
that we're not going to go where my psychological love goes because that
keep that to yourself.
I'm talking about Ava.
yeah, Ava.
I love that. That's my favorite anime. It is number worst.
No.
Number
Ava
worst.
is number worst. First off, it's not number sausage. Second off, no, it's nowhere near my top most hated anime.
Oh, good.
I don't like it. I think it's.
I think you should go back and revisit.
I will try to, but every time I watch it, I kind of want to just punch Shinji in his whiny
Well, that's
little
like
mouth.
with Alex. He does well. I guess I would really steer your direction to the new films, just because they are less depressing.
I will argue. I am also sort of like you in that I really didn't like Shinji. But in the Evangelion 2.0 film, he's actually quite a bit better in that regard. So the movie's actually watchable.
I will try to watch it again, but I swear, but I can almost guarantee I'm not gonna like it still. I have tried to rewatch Evangelion twice now.
Okay, well then I wouldn't go for the TV series. If you hate the TV series, and I understand there are people who don't like that, but I'm a bit of a what's the term where you like seeing other people suffer?
Masochist.
Yeah,
sadist.
masochist.
Masochism is that you like to be hurt. Sadism
Yeah.
is that you like to.
Okay, well the point is when I
others
watch
suffer.
media
Sadist.
and stuff, I like being a little bit of a sadist. Like, oh, your life sucks.
No,
That
it's
makes
not-
my life.
it's
suck
not even
so
that.
much.
Wow.
Good job.
It's not even
Good
that, but
job.
it's like I understand that Shinji is probably depressed, but
Well, that he is depressed. That's
it gets to the point I'm just watching it. Shinji, either nut up or shut up. Seriously, bro.
Yeah.
Just
and-
stop.
But that's why I would really push your direction to the new films. I know we're getting off topic here, but the point is, not that we never do, but
Of course not.
the new films, yeah, he's somewhat depressed in the first film. I mean, the point is, the writer who wrote Eva, he was in a serious depression when he wrote it. That's why Shinji is such this unlikable character. While the tone of the new films, obviously the director, he's out of his depression. Yes, Shinji still has to be a little bit whiny, but in the second film, he steps up to the plate. You're like, you know what? I'm no longer going to do this. I'm going to be the boss.
I think my problem with Shinji is he stopped going into depression and he just started. It's I don't mind depressed characters. I do mind characters that are living roadblocks, though.
Pretty much.
So, but back to Bebop.
Yeah, one thing one scene I forgot to mention in my list of like favorite scenes is the bit where he infiltrates the medical company and fights the girl, and he just he's kicking butt with this broom or mop or whatever it is. Like, it's just such a cool fight scene, and the dialogue there is great.
Or when she's those professors pull out this tray, pull out the cart, and it's got all the medical stuff, and he jumps up and grabs on like a fire, the fire extinguisher, or not fire
It's
extinguisher.
just a pipe.
It's just a pipe.
Just a pipe.
Just a pipe, and uses
job.
it to swing over.
Yep.
So, I mean, I really do. That was one of my favorite. Just the anime. The whole movie's great. I can't. I mean, there are, like you said, there are a few scenes where it's like it's the best, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, so we'll move on here from Bebop. Does anyone have any final thoughts? I mean, I've already sort of said my due. I think it's one of my favorite, anime movies in general. The music's great, animation's great, characters are great, dialogue's great. It's all great, I really don't have much to complain about.
Nah. I recommend it to anybody. Show it to anybody. You won't be blamed or dissed or.
Yeah, it was one of the few that I've seen that wasn't a Miyazaki movie. Like as far as anime movies goes.
That you think could, like, appeal to anyone, basically. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people like the Miyazaki ones.
Chris?
I really like the movie. I'm thinking about going to watch the show.
Nice.
Just
Yeah. Well,
got a couple other things to do along with
both
Brotherhood.
Matt and I own the DVDs.
So I'll let you. I can give you the first 5 discs. I'm still watching the last disc, but.
That sounds good.
And Jeremy?
Pretty much everything that needs to be said has already been said.
All right, so now we'll move on to Angel Cop. And before we go into
yay.
it, I'm just curious, Jeremy, why was it that you wanted to watch this movie, so badly? Like, even last year, you were trying to advocate for it.
Because it sucked.
It's because, quite frankly, this is a special type of suffering that I shouldn't have to deal with alone. I don't want to
By bringing on other
Pull us
people,
all
I
into
see
it.
how it is.
Yes.
Yes, it
I
was
refuse
painful.
to suffer alone.
I mean, no, that was just terrible.
Well, Matt likes to watch, so
Yo, I said it was going to be terrible. You all sat there of your own volition.
I just got bored. And it's like,
When, let's see, I think it was made in the 80s, right? I assume so. I didn't do any research. To be
I think
honest.
so. I think I
This
read
is-
that.
This movie, this movie does everything wrong.
Now,
Everything.
I honestly, as far as like it, I mean, it's still awful. Don't get me wrong, but I thought it was maybe. And to be fair, for those who don't know, Angel Cop is like a 6-part OVA thing, so it's not actually a movie. And we had only ended up watching 3 of the OVAs because it was just getting so boring and so bad that we wanted to stop. So
I don't know, Alex. You seemed like you wanted to
You
keep
want to
watching.
finish the
We
thing.
just couldn't handle it anymore.
I wanted to watch
You wanted to
the
skip
last
to the end so we
the
could
last
see
part.
what happened.
Okay. I wanted to watch the last part, but nobody else was interested in doing that. So whatever. But maybe those last 3 parts are even worse than the first 3. I don't know. But I actually thought it was better than Sword for Truth. Like, at least it was somewhat comprehensible and not super terrible.
See, there's a difference though. It's like they exist on different planes of suck. Angel Cop is still sitting within, like this normal, tangible realm of just being terrible, and that's why I said it's just terrible on every level.
Well, that's why it's part of... didn't we watched the other film because it was on the Holy Trinity of Suck.
Yes,
We
that's
still
what-
haven't seen the third one. I've seen the third one. No one else here has seen the third one. Anywho, the differences between these and Sword for Truth. Sword for Truth is in its own different dimension of awful. You can't... The problem is, I can't say it did everything wrong because I can't understand everything that was wrong with it.
Yeah, well,
My little human brain can't possibly grasp how horrible Sword for Truth was.
I sort of have 3 divisions for bad movies. There's laughably bad movies, which is what Sword for Truth was. There's sort of boringly bad movies, which was more along the lines of Angel Cop.
and then offensively bad.
Yeah, terribly, like just unwatchably bad movies.
Mad Bull
Yeah, it wasn't even
34
funny.
Falls kind of heavily
I know,
in the third.
and Angel Cop was funny. Like, I think the thing we laughed at the
Sometimes.
most was when, near the beginning of the movie, it's been bloody, but it's not been that bad. And all of a sudden, this girl comes in and just blasts off part of this chick's face, and you see like bones
Brains
and
coming
brain.
out.
Yeah,
It's
the
ridiculous.
Brains.
It's ridiculous.
I was
No.
not expecting that amount
Yeah, it
of
was a
gore.
good.
Whoa! Yeah, everyone else
ridiculous.
is really stunned, and then they actually hear her start talking, and the general consensus was, "Oh no, she's the main character," because this woman has Captain Janeway levels of sociopathy and just horrificness as a human being.
Yeah, well, at first
I
I
swear to God, I will shoot that little kid if the bullet also hits a terrorist, because sometimes sacrifices have to be made. What the hell is wrong with you?
She's an angel cop.
What the hell is wrong with
why
you?
is the show even called Angel Cop?
Do we even know what they do?
They shoot terrorists.
Yeah, there's
Terrorists.
Terrorism.
With weapons of mass destruction.
yeah, it's supposed to be set in some sort of future where the city is blue and
The city is blue.
It was.
Future.
Then David Bowie shows up with psychic powers. Literally, that's pretty much the whole. Literally, psychic power David Bowie ends up showing up
And
just out of the blue
I
and
swear,
just starts killing
they use-
terrorists.
Literally out of the blue.
they use that zoom in shot on the blue city at least like 3 times. It was ridiculous.
Pretty
There's
bad.
different shades of blue.
I know.
Shades of
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
here's the thing though. They're all describing the same close-up scene on the city. The problem isn't so much that they're reusing the frame of animation. It's the fact that they zoomed up. I timed it the first time. 9 minutes.
What?
9 minutes. Excuse me. Not 9 minutes total. But there's 9 minutes of zoom up on this one scene.
Oh, with all 3 of those combined.
just on the
way.
3 OVAs that we watched. There's 9 minutes of
It's
zoom
not
up.
even a good scene.
So it's like 3 minutes. They basically do a 3-minute recap. To blah,
It's
blah,
just
blah, blah,
narration.
blah, 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 blah.
And that was the thing, like, especially with the third OVA, so much of it was just exposition and people talking.
And just this
it's like-
horrific torture scene, and just me hating the main character more and more is every time she opened up her mouth, just horrible things just came out.
We lost Mark after the second episode already.
yeah, he was out of it by then, I think.
I think I was too.
We killed him with the movie.
Oh yeah, it's,
And
we
it-
brought him back. Bebop brought him back. Like I
That's
said,
true.
Spike Spiegel will save us all. He
But
is
here's-
your savior.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. I don't know if anyone else was really paying attention to this, and I've said this a couple times before. Alex, you were the person who was paying the most attention to this movie. Wasn't the thing that made you the most uncomfortable about it was the fact that that this woman who was the main character was a sociopath?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
she was a grade A certifiable sociopath.
well, I think we even made the point, like, you
Put a
know,
stamp on
the
Exactly.
exactly
Certified.
the guy who I thought was the main character at first, the guy on the motorcycle, he like gets hurt or something, and he's like, no, go on without me. And
She's like,
usually,
okay.
Yeah, usually the hero's like, no, I have to save you. But she's just like, nope, and drives off. And then the guy gets captured and tortured and turned into this half robot, half human
Yeah,
thing.
he gets turned into RoboCop. Oh my god, I wish I was making this up. This plot is just so stupid. But anyway, no, it's worse than that. Because he actually asked, if memory serves right, he asked her to radio in for help for him. And she says, there's no time for that, and she takes off. I'm just, the first time I watched this movie, I'm just sitting there, my jaw just kind of drops.
Or does everyone remember
What?
the little girl? The little...
With the fire?
with the fire. Help me! You get away!
Oh, that was scary.
We found out hell was behind the wall.
Yeah.
We found out where hell was.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yo,
Her voice was terrible. I mean,
little
It
girl.
was like this high-pitched little girl, and no.
She
That
looks
freaked me
kind of
out.
like a blonde Hermione from the Harry Potter series. And she palled around with Psychic Bowie.
Psychic bow.
No, I think it was Kurgan or somebody who was also watching it with us who was saying
No, he
that he
wasn't
was...
Kurgan wasn't there.
No, maybe it was you
You
then,
like
Chris.
Kurgan. You like referencing
Who
to him
who
quite a
was
bit.
saying that
It was
that
Chris,
the guy
and he was saying it was Cliff Edwards.
Oh,
He was saying it
yes.
was Sledge. No,
It
that
was
was definitely
Sledge.
David Bowie circa
And
Yeah, we
he-
called him out the whole time.
And
Circa
he was
Goblin King.
and he was calling the one chick who's also apparently a villain David Bowie.
No, she looks nothing like David Bowie.
I don't know. She
She looked like a pre-op transvestite.
Yeah, she looked quite masculine for being a
yeah,
female.
the one lady behind stage who was plugging into the
Yes.
computer.
Randomly broke a wine glass.
Just to clarify
Yeah.
though, I have
Just
nothing
crushed
against
it.
I have nothing against transvestites. She was the most masculine human being in the entire movie.
Well, and
She had an Adam's apple the size of a fist.
there were moments in the movie, like I remember one particular bit where she's like, I think she's chasing after her, the friend who got turned into the robot, and she's like driving through this tunnel, and there's like these orange lights going overhead, and it actually looks kind of cool. Like there were some moments where I was like, okay, the animation here is at least decent. There's some framing. There's some moments of that there was actual effort put into this show. And then you get moments like the Blue City, or
That just comes
Just,
back.
just
Or the-
when they were moving, just a lot of the animation
yes,
when they were moving
or
was just
or
terrible.
the when the airplane's coming down, but it's not even coming towards the camera; it's just going straight down.
Yeah,
It's like it's a helicopter plane.
it's the Rafflecopter.
Yes, the Rafflecopter. Oh,
It's
joys.
returned.
Now, Jeremy, I'm just curious, like, what happens at the end? Because you've actually seen the end.
It's
Did you really see the end?
Yes.
How did you last through the whole thing?
morbid curiosity.
Yeah, the whole thing is like close to 3 hours, I think.
Here's the thing, Alex. I purposely blocked it out.
It was so bad, his mind had to block the memories.
Couldn't even handle it.
I don't remember half of the end of the series.
Post-traumatic stress syndrome. Something
Yeah,
like that.
I have shell shock from watching anime. Anyway, it gets worse. It gets worse.
Yeah. Well,
What? How does it get worse?
Ow.
Trying to make an ending
Oh,
for
oh.
all these random plot threads, I could see how it could end in a real big mess.
Here's the thing. Remember that whole conversation that the old guy had about the 50 caliber gun, about how it would break her arms.
That only the
Oh,
one
yeah,
guy
only
could use
the-
it.
Bionic.
She ends up just grabbing it, and she has this like 3-second conversation. Oh, well, I guess I'm gonna break my arms now with herself. She's just talking to herself out loud, and she starts to shoot at someone, and she I don't know. I think I counted. She ends up firing like 8 or 9 rounds from this gun.
And her arms don't break.
Oh no, she's fine. Oh, it knocks her into a wall a couple times, but apparently she's made out of sterner stuff than Ichigo.
Apparently. One other thing that just bothered me throughout the whole movie is just the way that they the character designs for like the faces, especially a lot of the older men, like they just had these weird wrinkles and
You mean the guy who
really
has
Oh,
Six
the
head.
cheeks.
yes, and the thin cheeks
Oh, yeah.
and all
The
and
old
these huge
creepy
foreheads.
men.
Yeah, it was just so weird.
The one guy, I'm not even kidding when I say this. He looked kind of like a bulldog. No, he looked exactly like a bulldog.
Bulldog. Oh, Bulldog.
Yes, just he has so many wrinkles on his wrinkles had wrinkles.
Yes, I remember
His
that
forehead,
guy.
though, however, was completely smooth. Completely smooth.
And there's somebody who had like giant shoulders and their head just looked tiny.
Oh yes. Oh, and then
Then there was Rock.
yes, there were so many characters who just looked like these big muscle-bound dudes, like from Dragon Ball Z.
No, there was
Everybody had
Brock.
Brock. Remember we saw
Brock.
Brock.
Yep,
Yes.
he never opened his eyes.
Yes, it was Brock. We all started. He was one of the more. He was one of the less horrible characters in the movie, I would say.
Did we
Yeah.
even see him that much?
Yeah, he was
He
in
was
a good bit.
Wasn't he like a villain or something?
No,
he was.
He worked with the police force that they were a part of.
He was part of Angel Cops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to be an angel.
No, the one character I can remember though, he was another old man character. Every time I saw him walk by, I think it was just going Harum because he had Richard Nixon jowls going on. He just looked ridiculous.
Yeah. And then,
Harum.
and then there were a few moments of laughably terrible voice acting that we.
They were all laughably terrible.
Well, but
No.
I mean, like once again, it was bad. Don't get me wrong, but it's not Sword for Truth levels of badness. Yeah.
Sakaki-san.
What?
That's
Yeah.
the name of the
We
main
need to
character.
we need to watch that.
It's
again.
actually pronounced. It's called
Yes.
Sakaki.
No, I'm
No,
curious.
I
now.
know it is.
Sakaki.
Yeah,
We need to watch this again.
No,
Alex.
not you in your room, but not my room.
Yes.
Well,
watch it in my room.
maybe before we do the movie in
Do it when I
your
go
room
home for the weekend.
in your room next time, we could just watch a part of it. Not the whole
Okay,
thing.
just
Like the first 15
show some of
minutes.
the Sakaki-san. Or like when her clothes completely come off after she like tries to pickpocket him. Like her clothes, he cuts off her clothes in the middle of the public, and she's just like, oh,
And no one notices.
no one notices.
No one notices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's-
No, this
oh
movie
my
is
gosh.
it's a genuine level of awful that you just could not
You
believe.
should listen to the episode, not you guys, but
Yes, that would
No,
be. That's
people who
episode
don't-
9, actually.
Episode
Shred
Speaking
Cells.
of which, we've done 2 of the 3 of the Holy Trinity of Suck.
Suck, yes.
We need to do number 3, Matt.
well,
What's the third?
but you've said that one's the
Bull
worst.
34.
Mad Bull 34.
It is, but that's why we need to watch it.
what?
Mad
what?
Bull 30.
What is this holy trinity of stuff?
It's an internet term from there's another podcast group called the Anime World Order, and it's a generally
We have
accepted.
a world order.
Well, the point is, it's a generally
New
accepted
World
term
Order.
from most anime fans that there's this thing called the Holy Trinity of Suck. Angel
Oh,
Cop
yeah.
is one of them. Sword of Truth is one of
4, not of 4.
No, there are 3. It's 3.
Yeah, Sword for
It's
Truth.
called Sword for Truth.
I
Sword
always-
of Truth is like a book by some guy. I'm
So,
forgetting.
It's a
The
Terry.
point is, we've got Angel Cop, Sword for Truth, and Mad Bull 34. All 3 are part of the Holy Trinity of Suck.
We
So-
need
I
to
like that
see
term.
number 3.
So,
It's
well,
non-negotiable. We have to watch it sometime before.
well,
the
then
end
that's
of
what the
this year.
episode title has to be: the Holy Trinity of Suck.
Yeah,
Completed.
Since we just watched this one, I'd rather wait
A little while.
Yeah, maybe till October, November. But I'd like to do that
Oh, suck it.
eventually.
Oh,
I wanna
in
watch the
3 days he'll
Fate
be ready to
Okay,
watch it.
Sorry.
Get over it.
What's in 3
Get
days?
over it. We're gonna see it.
What's in 3 days?
October.
October.
Oh,
The 27th.
Yes. Don't you know? Wow.
So
No, in 3 days the moon's gonna fall. Don't you know?
no, I completely forgot. I've had my head in Pandaria for like 3 days now.
Oh, World of
jealous.
Warcraft.
Jealous.
Oh, you're a WoW player too.
I hear-
Gretchen?
I was, but I bought Borderlands, so I didn't want to pay for that.
I hear you like Jack Black.
No, I'm not a panda.
Why not?
I did Blood Elf, and I'm already level 41 monk. So I'm working on it.
Nice.
wow. But
Yeah. So,
Wait, that was like 2 days ago, right?
Yeah.
yeah. So overall thoughts about Angel Cop. Like I said, from what I saw of it, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it was still pretty bad.
At least the plot actually semi made sense. Like it actually went through. Unlike Sword for Truth, where it's just like, oh, lesbian ninjas come and attack.
The problem with at least Angel Cop, the plot is stupid as all hell. But at least it has some
Chronological.
continuity. Whereas Sword for Truth literally felt like it wasn't finished.
just like
it was
things-
half of a movie.
Well, basically, it's like,
Half of
oh,
a
we
movie.
animated parts of these films, and there's, we still got to animate these other
Are there freeze
segments.
frames?
No. But it's just like, oh, we've got parts of these films done, but we can't put them together.
Let me put it this way: near the end of the movie, there's like this random demon who hasn't been mentioned at all, who shows up and is like giving this big evil speech about how he's going to destroy the hero or whatever. And then the hero walks and like meets this guy who appeared randomly early in the movie, and he's like, "You're strong." And he's like, "You're strong." And then they walk away, and that's the end.
That's literally.
That's literally
But
what it is.
The difference is though between I would say Sword for Truth and for
Angel Cop.
I would actually recommend watching Sword for Truth with your budds.
It's
because
funnier.
It's just It's bad, but it's entertainingly so. Angel Cop, no.
Those are the
Just
best.
skip it.
You know what? We could Sword for Truth. We
skip
could
it.
revisit when we watch Sword of the Stranger.
What the hell's that?
It's a good action film that I'm going to bring down.
Yeah,
when
he
I go
says
back home.
it's sort of
Touch
like
me.
a samurai
It's
kind
a
of
good
movie.
samurai
Oh,
film.
okay.
No, it's legit. I think it's better than Ninja Scroll.
That's fine.
Never seen that.
I
I
don't
like
ca-
Ninja Scroll,
I
but it's
didn't
not
like
my
Ninja-
favorite movie ever.
I know. I'm not a Ninja Scroll fan. It was okay for me, but
I
this.
was
You
just
shut your
feed
whore
a
mouth.
show.
No, I didn't like it.
You shut your whore mouth.
No, my mouth is not a whore.
Great. All right. So Matt, what overall thoughts on Angel Cop?
Never.
Okay. Chris.
Not going anywhere near it again.
Okay, Jeremy.
I think
He'll go back to watch
he
it.
went back already. Ow.
And you
I
wonder,
didn't much care for it.
you wonder why I have to
Wow.
adjust your volumes. Goodness, your levels, I should say. Gretchen.
I almost wanted to watch
said
the
your
end, but it was just so
volumes.
boring and bad that I can't do
I
it.
know, like at least through the first two OVAs, they were just lauglaugly bad and kind of funny. But the third one just started getting
It's
so
like, I
boring.
can't
It
even anymore.
was basically a waste of time. I mean, I could say if you had to rate it, it's like I wish I would have watched something better than.
Can I have
Anything
like an hour of my
better
life
than-
back?
I would-
Yeah, your hour and the
I
hour
could
and a
use
half
it
of your
for a while.
life is gone. Deal with it.
Gone. I
I,
can't
know,
get it
I wouldn't
back.
say it was a waste of time, but there were moments where it felt really draggy. I'll
It's like
admit.
I like my Jones soda. Go,
All right.
go.
That's what I paid for.
So we haven't done this segment in a while, but I wanted to do it real quick. Just sort of a segment where we talk about sort of things in the anime community in general, or just storytelling or whatever. And I was sort of thinking about what do we think about movies from established franchises? Like, for example, I mentioned the Naruto movie. Like, there's like at least 10 like Naruto spin-off
There's
movies.
a lot
There's
of
a lot
them.
of One
I-
Piece ones.
I
There's
didn't watch any of them.
Bleach
but
ones.
They're all hit or miss.
There's some for Full Metal Alchemist we've talked about. There's one for Brotherhood called The Sacred Star of Melios, and then there's that other one for the original. What's it called again? Shambhala.
Conqueror of Shambhala, and it's decent.
Right. And then you get like the Ava films and things like that. So I don't know what your guys' opinions are, but at least for me personally, like the Jeremy. Oh boy. The like what they do, I mean, to be fair, Bebop is in sort of a special place because at that point the series was done and they were sort of able to, make it a movie that was sort of standalone in and of itself, but at the same time connects to the other series.
Goes
which I-
back and because I mean, not that you need the movie to have the full Cowboy Bebop experience, but it definitely smooths out that transition. Like I said, that things are coming to an end for the Bebop.
Right. And whereas in other shows, for example, like One Piece or Naruto or Bleach, these shonen shows, they're so long, they're still ongoing. So the anime can do these movies, but they
Whole
can't.
lot of filler.
But they can't. Yeah, that's the thing. It has to be filler. They can't actually do anything like to the characters. Like they can't kill anyone. They
The
just
plot cannot advance.
pretty much.
I actually like the filler for Naruto.
Oh, I don't.
and
I think it actually builds some character depending on who it's
Then
on.
it's not filler if it character builds.
watch it,
I
Matt.
almost had a seizure. Oh,
He's hurting himself. But like,
Drop the mic.
I've seen 2 of the Bleach movies, and one of them was just flat out bad. And then there was a second one that actually went, for those who know a little bit about Bleach, Hitsugaya. He's like the ice one,
Ice guy,
the younger.
ice baby.
Yeah, the midget, and it actually went into his character a
singing
bit,
and dancing.
that was actually kind of interesting. And it wasn't great,
No.
but I
know
enjoyed
exactly
it.
I'll ban you.
With that whole
That's
thing
the
about
third
the
film.
2 Zanpakuto thing.
Yeah.
I didn't like
There's
it.
2.
Because I just thought it was. Did anyone else just find it really, really kind of convenient that there just happens to be a law that says only one? There can be only one. Did anyone
It's a bit
else?
too convenient.
That's
There's a law that only you can have one sword. Choose wisely.
They don't even explain why. They just say
It goes
no.
back to Pokemon. Pick your first starter Pokemon. Can't
that's
have all
different.
3 of them.
Why?
See, that's different though,
Just
because there
steal
are
them.
other children taking those. There's no excuse though.
There's
Please.
other children taking those.
What? Yeah, there were. They were both young.
Which I think is also interesting. Children wandering the world, but then like if you do it now,
Or like that's
good
even
luck.
that's
But
even
yeah,
a good point. Like
the difference is though in Pokemon, they're all armed with genetically engineered killing machines.
mutants.
I guess that's true.
But like you mentioned Pokemon, that makes me think of the Pokemon movies, which when I was a kid, I
Pokemon
loved
movies
those.
are awesome.
I remember
we should watch
Still watch
those.
them.
I remember going to see 2000 and the third
yeah.
one in movie theaters.
Yeah.
It's
I would,
Slow
argue
King.
I would actually argue that the 2000 one's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I remember
So
that
I
one
like
being
the one
good.
where it was in Italy, with the home region.
That one's a little worse.
Was
I know
that
which one
the-
you're talking about.
I just like the artwork.
It's
Is
like
that with Entei and all
no,
those?
it's
No,
Latios and Latias or whatever they're
okay.
called.
Yeah, it was like the Italian dude. I know the theme song, sadly, to that.
No,
movie.
but the whole thing is though the 2000 movie compared to the first one and the third one, it was actually fairly interesting.
Well, to be fair, like what happened, how the first one ends is cheesy as all
No,
hell.
no.
But it was
Cheesy
actually
describes
I
something
haven't
that's
seen the first
delicious
Pokemon movie,
and
so don't spoil
hilarious
it.
in hindsight. It was just bad, and it was a Deus Ex Machina of ridiculously bad proportions.
yeah, I suppose. But besides that, I mean, I actually liked like this whole Mewtwo character and how they built him up.
It's actually funny because if you watch the show, like if you go back and watch it, Mewtwo. This was not the first time Mewtwo had showed up.
I remember that
Mewtwo was in the anime a couple times.
He was with Giovanni, wasn't
and
he?
he was just pants crappingly terrifying every time he showed up. In fact, they even showed
Yeah.
the scene where he actually blows up Giovanni's castle.
Really?
Well, that's in the.
Yeah.
Isn't that in the? No, never mind. That's the lab in the movie.
Yeah.
So
They actually show him
Doing
They
that?
actually show him blowing up Giovanni's castle in the anime. And then they show Giovanni beating the crap out of a couple of trainers with Mewtwo. It's like, really? Really? You're going to be that guy, Giovanni?
Right.
Oh, he
You're gonna
blows up
be
the
that
castle
guy.
too because he flies away shedding the armor. I remember now.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, we can't. We didn't have any of those banned episodes. Apparently, there's not to
The
get off
Porygon
topic.
episode.
No, not. I'm not talking. There's actually a
The
safari.
swimsuit.
I'm talking about the safari episode where all of a sudden, they just go to the safari and the guy who runs the safari has this gun and he just pulls this gun and aims it like at Ash's head. Like never has a gun been pulled. Yeah, seriously, look it up. Like all
They
of a sudden
have
they
guns
just
in this universe.
And
have,
Pokemon?
they just have guns, and apparently, like Team Rocket, like uses the gun to hold the guy hostage too. And
Well,
Meowth has like a
think
Hitler
about it, like,
mustache too.
when-
like
well,
they're
jeez.
interrogating.
That's a good point. Of course. But my biggest problem with Team Rocket is, first off, they're a mafia. And you'd assume that, second off, my other problem with, well, they're a mafia and you assume they'd have firearms, especially since.
Well, but that's the thing. Like you mentioned that, I remember seeing a Pokemon episode where Team Rocket like actually has like a rocket launcher and they've like thrown bombs and things.
But no, this was like a gun, like a Western gun. It looked like it had the where you
Yeah.
put the bullets. Like it looked like
revolver?
a revolver. Yeah,
Well,
it was
actually, the
Six-shooter.
episode I'm thinking of is one where like Ash's Pikachu like is sick or something, and Team Rocket lets him run to a town to like get medicine, and he walks after Team Rocket like went to the shop and they like attacked it or something. And then Ash one runs in, and all the townsfolk pull out guns and point them at him.
really.
That's
Yeah.
a good, of course.
I
That
that's
other,
vaguely
weird.
remember
this
that.
also brings up the other unfortunate implication of Pokemon. There's only one Italian in the world, and he's the leader of organized crime.
I never made that connection when I was a kid, but I suppose it
about
does
it,
make
Giovanni.
sense.
Only Italian. Leader of organized crime.
That's pretty great.
I think they're trying to tell us something here.
But one thing I did want to mention on the whole movie idea
Pokemon
is
is actually Godfather.
he is the Godfather. But one thing I've liked about I've only seen a few of the One Piece films because I know some of them are pretty bad. But I think it's the fourth one. Wasn't that the one we watched, Matt?
Yes, it was.
And it was a one-off, it introduced these characters and this villain that really didn't connect with the rest of the show, but it was fun. It was like this adventure they were going on.
And
There
it
was this
actually
whole
tied
race.
back to G8 arc. That's a filler arc in One Piece, but it's described as one of the best filler arcs. Also, the bartender from that movie is seen in Strong World, the 10th film,
yeah.
which is canon.
Right,
So
and then
it
and
begs
then
the question.
and One Piece introduced this whole concept of the original manga creator getting involved with the anime to make a movie. That was the 10th movie, Strong World, and apparently he's helping on the newest one. And now I've heard that Kishimoto is
for
doing that for the
Naruto.
newest Naruto movie. So
Wait, what?
yeah, like there's supposed to be this Naruto movie coming out where it's like an alternate reality thing where like his parents didn't die and so he grows up like a normal kid.
Minato's still alive. That would be sick.
Yeah, it's coming out, so you can look forward to that. Right. So I don't know. Does anyone have any other thoughts on this? Like these movies that sort of are one-offs from franchises? You know, what do you like about them versus
Most
dislike?
of them suck.
Yeah, the problem is they're either really hit or really miss, and more often than not, they're really, really miss.
Right.
Matt, if you don't stop, something's gonna get thrown.
Matt is waving his phone around like a madman, by the way.
No,
Why
it's a
would he do
lighter.
that?
You know, when you go to concerts, people are lame. They don't have lighters.
It's like
now.
kumbaya sort of thing going on here.
You hit the mic again and knock
Jeremy
it
is
over.
prepping to throw a shoe. Oh my goodness, there's gonna be a fight on the podcast.
I'll block it.
But no, I agree with you, Jeremy. Like most of these fights are
No.
fights. I mean, movies are pretty bad. You know, like the DBZ movies, for example.
That's the problem with that becomes though is you're comparing crap to more crap, so it's
Hey,
gonna be crap
DBZ
regardless.
isn't that bad. Come on.
The
Yes.
fact that I never want to watch it.
The thing is though, I actually
it
enjoyed
was
Dragon
stupid.
Ball because it was relatively entertaining because it was much more lighthearted. Dragon Ball Z, on the other hand,
Yeah, no, it definitely takes it up a few notches too far, perhaps.
I didn't like it.
Well, to be fair, I haven't really seen that much of the anime. I've read more of the manga, and the manga is much better paced because it doesn't have these super long filler episodes, or like where Frieza says the planet's gonna blow up in 8 minutes, and then we have 10 episodes before the planet actually blows up. So we have to deal with that. So as far as what we're going to talk about next time, we sort of talked about this earlier, and what we decided is in 4 weeks, so on 2 episodes from now, we're going to talk about the anime Fate Zero, which is I believe it's 2011-2012, relatively new anime. Supposed to be very good from what I've seen of like anime reviewers online and things. It's available on Crunchyroll and on Hulu, so we're going to watch that over the course of the next month. And in the meantime, for the podcast 2 weeks from now, we want to watch a movie since that'll be a bit more manageable. And Jeremy has suggested the movie Jinro the Wolf Brigade, which he was heavily advocating last year as well.
now for those of you who are going, but Jeremy, you only advocate bad movies and Cowboy Bebop.
No, you wanted Ninja Scroll.
Well, yes, that is the thing. I also really the reason. Oh, shut up, Matt. No one cares it comes out of your whore mouth anymore.
Thanks.
Great.
Anywho, the thing is, the reason I usually suggest bad movies is because I actually enjoy watching bad movies because I like to laugh at them.
Right.
So do I.
The difference is that Jinro, on the other hand, it's a very, very, very good movie. It's very dark. So I'm I'm assuming that people here are going to like it so long as they like storytelling.
Yeah. Well, I like storytelling since I'm a film major, so I'm game for that.
I'm pretty sure everybody likes storytelling.
I hate stories.
But not everybody likes really dark stories, though.
Oh, I love dark
This is
stories.
not happy.
Oh, I love dark stories. I mean, I'm Count 'em Monte Cristo guy. You can't go wrong with that.
But you
Yes.
like blue space
Yes,
vampires.
we
That's
did-
part of the problem.
We did find out during the showing that apparently Matt is obsessed with vengeance. Like, he loves things with vengeance in them.
I do too.
Vengeance and-
Close brother of justice.
Revenge, yeah.
Revenge.
I
yeah,
watched,
so-
I watched
Close
V for
brother?
Vendetta, and
Yes.
Or
I think
that's
it.
right. That's
far
what
away.
it was.
No.
So don't get on Matt's bad
They're very
side, or else
close
he's gonna
brothers.
get
Yeah, I might
revenge.
come
I don't
back
think
and
so.
kill you.
Yes.
No. Secretly,
Nice.
and no one will know.
I am justice.
I am
No, you're not.
That's from Death Note, for those who don't know. Yeah, I just felt like
He is the
referencing that. Well, and then there's that Batman, of course. Yeah, so everyone's good with Jinro and Fate Zero to be on the docket for next time.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right,
I
very
forgot
good.
I can't thumbs up. No one can see me.
Yes, you have to remember this is audio medium here, not visual. So, for those of you who enjoyed this podcast, you can email us at techheads@avwproductions.com. You can follow us on Twitter at techheadsou. You can like us on Facebook. It's just techheads. Download the podcast on iTunes. You maybe give us some good ratings if you enjoy it. Thank you very much for listening.
Stop eating your mic.
It's a lollipop.
For those who don't know, TechHeads is part of AVW Productions, which is a video production organization here at Ohio University to do lots of different
But this
shows.
is audio.
Okay, sorry, media organization. All right, ruining my little spiel I say at the end of every podcast. Are
Good
you?
job, Matt.
Throwing a wrench into everybody's plans.
Quick way to get Alex
I
to
am
hate
saying
you.
this.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Darth Schmitz. Matt, do you have a Twitter yet?
Nope. I keep saying I'll get one, and it just never materializes. I expect it to do it itself.
Create the account.
Chris,
Takes
what's
5
your
seconds.
what's your Twitter?
At FrostAssassin18.
All right, and
Frosty.
oh, we all know about Jeremy.
Yes, I actually have better things to do than Twitter my little random brain farts to
Thank
everyone.
you.
No, you don't.
Yes, actually I
No,
do.
you don't.
I went to the mall and got some ice cream.
Here's an Instagram of the ice cream.
No party. Let me change it 5,000 colors.
Here it is in sepia tone.
Ooh.
Oh, everyone
It
loves
makes it
sepia tone.
That was totally yesterday now because it's so old.
Wow.
The future
That's
of
the
America.
future.
America. Can't say it the last part.
No,
America.
we cannot.
America.
But actually, I have not used my Twitter in like probably 2 months. Like it's been pretty
12
bad.
months, man.
I used it like 3 days ago, and then before that, I just never touched it. I used it 3 days ago to get a free Pandaria game. So
Nice. Gretchen, what's yours?
I'm actually Twitterless. I'm a Tumblr person.
A Tumblr person. I actually got a Tumblr recently. I need
it's
to use
the
it
best.
more. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for listening to this Shred Cels episode 12. This is the Angel Cop and Cowboy Bebop, the movie podcast. Look forward to the podcast next week with Matt's crew, where they'll be discussing Heed's Delivery Service, great Studio Ghibli movie. So thank you all for joining me on this great episode. This has been Shred Cels, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Crunchitize me, Captain.
ow.
This product is copyright AVW Productions 2020.